I was wondering maybe I could bring you some more of my writing.
Bolt the door if you're coming in.
That's you, isn't it?
If I ask you not to say anything to anybody,
And if I asked you to keep helping me with my writing?
Hey there, welcome back. Ruben, today we have a film titled Finding Forrester. This is a 2000 film starring Sean Connery as William Forrester and Rob Brown as Jamal Wallace. We also have appearances by F. Murray Abrams as a teacher by name of Robert Crawford and Anna Paquin. Ruben, you know, Kimberly only watched this film. I'll just say this little funny little thing real quick. Kimberly only watched the last few minutes of this film, and she goes, "It seems like it's like Death Poet Society meets Scent of a Woman." And I go, "Well, there's some argument to that." And again, she's only seen like 5 minutes of the film. This is a film that's set in New York City, though I will say this. And yeah, there are some things to that because it does involve a young man who is going from a typical high school to a prep school, and he meets this famous writer by the name of Forrester, right? And it's kind of a like a J.P. Salinger type of person, right? Who wrote like one book, and then after that, he didn't really write much else. And so they create this friendship, and Forrester is helping this young man, with his writing and so forth. Then he sees right away that this is a really bright young man, and he also is a great basketball player. And this prep school really wants him for the basketball, although they do know that he's qualified to be a student there. So you see him as he gets into the school and dealing with a teacher by the name of Abram. Actually, that's not the name of the teacher, but it's played by F. Murray Abram. His name is Robert Crawford in the film, and there's some conflict there regarding this teacher. Does he really believe that this young man really belongs there? And so as the film goes on, you see this young man become a better writer. But it's also the title is Fighting Forrester, so you really it's a story of this character played by Sean Connery, who is a recluse and really building a friendship in which he really hasn't had doesn't have any friends at this time, and really learning how to not learning but finding ways to just find himself and become a um, part of society again. And so it is a long film, Ruben. It's over 2 hours. So I think that's a minus. If I do, I give my approval of it. I do, but it's not like a strong approval just because of the length of the film, and I feel like it's doing too many things. However, I do enjoy the acting. I thought this is one of Sean Connery's last films, so I think it's the second last film where he actually acted. I think he did one more after this. And but just seeing this, it was just interesting to see this young man grow, and just even seeing the students interact. There's no cell phones, there's conversations happening at lunch. I said, oh, we don't have that anymore at my school. All the kids are on their phones. So I really like seeing that, looking at school, 20 years ago. But anyway, I liked it, Ruben. What you think? Oops, can't hear you. Oh, you're on mute.
Well, there's no cell phones because the movie was released in 2000, right? So
Well, there are
uh
cell phones, but they don't not the ones we have like today.
and
Yeah.
it's not like it is today, right? I mean, they're probably big monstrosities and things. I'm exaggerating, but
And
I
you
have
find some fault would be right away.
well, I mean, right? I mean, of course, there's no cell phones, right? We reviewed the Blackboard Jungle. There's no cell phones, right?
My point was that I like the conversations that are happening at lunch, Ruben.
There's a lot of problems. There's some problems I have with this movie. First, there's one thing that I liked, but it's very, very, very short and very thin, small part of the film. But one of it is the thing that you had mentioned that Kimberly noticed that it's so funny as I'm watching this. And I'm like, this is a kind of a template that was going on in the 90s where you have the eccentric mentor or teacher over this shy kid or this either shy or disaffected kid in some way, and he brings this kid out. But then there's a thing about the mentor that's off, who's given up himself in one way, and the kid calls him out on it. And then at the end, the mentor is gonna put the admin in their place. With Honors, Scent of a Woman,
Right.
Dead Poet, uh, Good Will Hunting. So what I did within, is what I did in the movie. I fast forwarded to the end. So within like 25, 30 minutes, I fast forwarded to the end to see if Sean Connery was going to get up and confront the admin.
Are you kidding
And
me?
I was, no, it's like,
That's
this is so, this is like, why do they keep feeding us this? It's like you just read it, you can smell it from the first 15. When he meets Sean Connery, you can see it. It's like, oh, please, come on, stop it.
fair, fair.
There's that. Um, then there's, I don't know what it is, but I like when you see a movie, especially because we've watched, you can see the authenticity or lack thereof when you watch some of these movies. So we've seen some really good movies in the last couple of years that are authentic. I'm thinking of Radical. I'm thinking of Teacher's Lounge, where you watch it. I'm thinking of Abbott Elementary, where when you watch it. Oh, and our friend Mr. Harkle, right? That movie was, I mean, number one on the area of this was created by a teacher or advised by teachers. But when I'm watching this, I'm thinking, what is this? This is not written by a teacher. um, this idea, there's several moments where it just takes me out of it. Like the moment where this kid is being recruited, like they're looking up his scores, the state scores.
Yeah.
No, that doesn't happen. You know, I work with high school seniors and they have to be proactive. And these are top, some of these kids are very strong, are going to go to top schools. They have to be proactive and they have to search and they have to put their academics and they're doing sports and they have to build this portfolio
Don't you think it was
practically.
more for the basketball? I think they were recruiting his basketball skills. I mean, that happens at our district. They look for kids who are good basketball players.
But that didn't really come out front and center. That was a very small, but it looked like they were recruiting this guy for his acting. Okay, maybe so. Um, a girl just walking up to him and says, "Let me show you around." The kid didn't have to do anything. He's getting girlfriends walk up to him. He's getting people
Can't do the
recruiting him
work. Yeah.
for his star scores. Um, to me, it didn't. Okay. And then Matt Damon shows up in the last 10 minutes of the movie and he looks like he's 19 and he's a
I,
legal representative. Give me a break. This kid looks like he's right out of high school. I'm a prestigious lawyer. Get out of here. Um,
so you
what
didn't
I
like it?
like, it just, to me, it's so cliche. It's just, uh, but I did like, and I wish they just ramped this up, that some of the writing advice, some of the techniques he was saying were really good. Sean Connery mentoring this kid, you hear him saying some things about writing that were very really valuable stuff. And there aren't enough movies about writing mentors. They do a whole riff on starting the sentence with and or but. Can you do it? And it's on point. You know what they were saying. You know, I liked it, but it wasn't enough. It was very little of that the movie, and no,
Yeah.
I did not. I
You
do
didn't
not
like it.
recommend it.
Okay.
Do not pass go. Do not collect anything. It's not terrible, but I was just putting it on the background after a while and just cleaning my apartment.
Just two last things. One is to go with what you're sharing regarding some of the advice. One of my favorite quotes is Forrester talking to the young man saying, "Hey, first key to writing is to write, not to think," which I think is
Yeah,
good advice. You just start writing. Because a lot of times people want, "Oh, I want to be a writer." Well, are you writing?
it's
Oh no.
it's
Well, write, which was
it's
great.
worth pointing that out that
Hmm.
and I had written it down. I should have oh, there's another thing that
Uh-huh.
I did like. But yes, he says first draft should be your head. Sorry, first draft should be your heart, second draft should be your head, meaning sometimes just getting it out there. This is true for all kinds of creative writing for sure, is that you don't feel it or you just it doesn't look right, but later it can look right. Don't worry about it looking right at first. It's the heart, and then later the head. I've never had it worded like that, heard it worded like that, and it was nice.
Yeah. Well, and one last thing before we go, I have a question for you. Okay.
Real quickly
Oh
though,
yeah, go ahead.
one of the inauthentic things that threw me out was the teacher Salieri, F. Murray Abraham. he kept and this happens a lot in teacher movies. It's a very small point, but it throws me out as a teacher. Mr. Wallace. He kept calling him Mr. Wallace. We don't remember the kid. So this happens in Dead Poets. He called them by their last names, but he said Mr. I don't know. I don't know if I've ever called my students Mr. or Miss anyway. That's ridiculous. But you don't call them by their last name. You don't remember them by their last names. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the last name are the last thing you remember. You remember them by their first names.
Sometimes me, because
And
I have a bad memory, I do go by the first name for sure. But if I can't remember right away, I'll use the last name. But I hardly ever
really?
do it. But I have, yeah, because my memory, I have bad memory. Uh, but
No, I know, but even no, but even with bad memories, their last names are not remembered first. At least in my
I,
experience.
I remember both, and if I can't remember the first, I'll say the last. But 90% of the time, I do the first. Yeah,
Wow. Yeah, the last names for me come way at the end because it's like, how do I remember their first and last names? Just remember their first names. Anyway,
I get it.
what did you want to say?
Here's my last question to you. And this is through a lot of movies we've watched over the last few years. In the film, a couple times, not in the prep school and in the typical school, high school, you see a teacher giving a lesson, and all of a sudden the bell rings,
Right.
right? And the kids leave. I have never had that happen to me where I'm giving a lesson and the bell rings. Maybe once, I don't remember. I know the bell, I know when the time is, and I'm gonna get them ready and I'm gonna finish what I have to say before the
You're,
bell
you're
rings.
very
That
you're,
irritates me. I
you're
don't know
very
about you.
conscious. You're very conscious of the bell of the end of the day because the schedule is king because you're worried that you're not going to have enough time or that here's the another problem. You're going to have too much time. What am I going to do with my kids if I have 15 extra minutes? That's worse. That's
For
a worse
sure.
problem than running out of time. But you're right. You're conscious and you want a 5 minute,
Hmm.
you want a 5 minute buffer. You want to end about 5 minutes early because questions, especially if it's a
For
high,
sure.
if you're dealing with seniors, juniors, you really got some content to get out. Who has questions? Okay, let's clean up. Let's have 2 or 3 minutes where we're just sitting there and just not doing anything. That's fine. Yeah,
No,
that is weird.
perfect. Yeah, I was wondering if you felt the same way. And I guess, well, with that, we'll end. But I will share this. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, we know a lot of people watch without being subscribers. Go ahead and subscribe to it. Ring that bell. And we really would like you to come next time on Pod and Deliver. Have a good one. We'll see you soon. Bye bye.